touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, so looking at the board for today, it took forever for them to come out with these props. That's why this video is being put out later today. And that's pretty unfortunate because I was ready to go this morning. We had a lock and load NHL bet that was plus like 155 to start out the day. They have since taken that one off the board. I apologize. I figured, since this is an NBA DFS video, I figured let's just wait until the props come out. Now we still do have some decent NHL props, and I'll start with those in case they change after this video is posted. So, people coming in early can get this prop right away. And so guys, this is because I think the NBA board will continue to update continuously throughout the day, whereas the NHL board those props will decrease throughout the day. Whereas with all the NBA news, they're going to be changing it throughout the day and whatnot. So I think kind of the props that we're getting on there are most likely going to stay throughout the day, whereas these NHL ones will probably change throughout the day. So a very interesting prop on the day. And I say that because the sports books are kind of valuing this differently. If we were to look at DK Sportsbook, they would have this number set at minus 145, which obviously would be something that we would attack at minus 145. FanDuel has it set at minus 140, but if we keep going down the list, it's set at minus 124 across the board. Now, the thing is, and this is for the under, it's set at minus 124 across the board on average for all the sports books. But if we look at the over, it's plus 108 across the board. So in theory, this still is a strong bet. Even though some of the sports books aren't exactly agreeing, they are still saying that the number is basically correct. They just don't know how to give it the proper juice on their own books or across the book. So this is most likely going to be the best NHL bet that we get unless it changes. So it opened up at minus 140 and it stayed at minus 140 to get the over today. So it's a pretty good number, obviously. And then the under is set at plus 110. Okay, so pretty good odds across the board there for this one. And then for the third straight slate, and I don't know how I feel about this, is Matt Boldy. They are saying that the under is the way to go once again. Okay, so that paid off for us against Dallas and against Arizona did not. Okay, so the under is set at minus 138. Okay, some sportsbooks actually have this set at 2.5 shots on goal, which is heavily favored to get over. So he's basically projected to get 3 shots on goal. The issue is he had been on kind of a hot streak and he was very close to getting against Dallas. Up to you guys what you want to do with that. Those are just the best prop bets that we're getting in hockey right now. I mean, another okay one would be Ryan Hartman over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 132. A decent number there. All right, so now getting into the NBA bets. And this is going to be the best prop bet that we're getting on paper. It's for you guys to decide what you want to do with it. Not pretty to me, honestly, but looking at the odds, we're getting minus 139 odds to get the over. And I have them projected to get 0.57. So it is favoring the over there as well. Obviously not a lock and load. But today is going to be a smaller slate for NBA for one. And so if we're playing NBA, and that's why I started with NHL, because those are going to be the better bets that we're getting today. If we are playing NBA, we're probably going to force in some bets. It's a small 4-game slate with the trade deadline, okay? And that's part of the reason why PrizePicks was so late to get out their stuff, because, well, it is tough to properly prop them, okay? Looking at it, the biggest issue with this prop is literally the attempts, okay? He hasn't been shooting 3 balls, okay? What we're going to get is maybe 1 3-ball attempt, and he needs to make it. That's what we need to happen. And so to me, it doesn't feel like a good one, even though the sportsbooks are saying minus 139 across the board. That is for you guys to decide. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to pull it up here on DK Sportsbook as well, see what they have it at, minus 135. Okay. Sure, yeah, it's a good one on paper, but we'll see. And now this one's surprising to me. And I always try to give you guys kind of the best path to success, by choosing bets that have favorable odds and where the projections match up as well. That's how we were able to have success yesterday with the pool and green bets again. Even though they weren't as strong as they were 2 nights ago, they were still strong bets. Today, we're just not getting that many strong bets on paper. So it does really feel like a day in which we would be forcing them. I just want to make that clear. As it sits right now, obviously, as the day develops, stuff can change. So Aiden over 21.5 points, projection-wise, is projected to go over this by 2 points. Okay. We have a lot of factors that go into this one, though. So obviously the first thing would be the fact that the Suns just traded for Kevin Durant. Okay, probably not going to play, right? Has to do with physical and whatnot. The Suns are projected to lose this game, okay? Let's go ahead and pull up his points. On DK Sportsbook, they have it set at minus 120 to get over this. And so really the appeal here is that they're going to be without Bridges, so it's really going to be Chris Paul and Aiden going against the Hawks. And so looking at, we don't have too much of a minute size with these players off the court. And if you toss in some of the other bench players, it's not a big sample size for Aiden. So I'm going to do it with Booker off the court and with Bridges off the court. because with both of them off the court, he only has 42 minutes. And sure, in those 42 minutes is averaging a lot of fantasy points, but it's not a big sample. That's a terrible sample size. So looking at with just Booker off the court, Aiden averages 23.3 points. So he does average over this number. Okay. So that's encouraging. Averages about 12.6 rebounds per 36 and about 2.5 assists. 43 fantasy points on average per 36 with Booker off the court. And now with Bridges off the court, another very small sample size, less than 100 minutes. So it's not even worth mentioning actually. So that's the biggest issue, is that we don't really have a big sample size to go off of for this prop. And that's probably why the sportsbooks are putting it at a lower number. Also, it's the fact that this game on paper, they're saying is going to be, a blowout risk. I start to worry about blowouts at 7.5 points. It's only at 7. So in theory, he should still get his final minutes. And so that's the biggest thing that we're looking at here. And so for reference, the biggest bet for Aiden here is going to be the minutes. And we can see far from a lock and load. On average, averages 18.4 points. If we throw in what the prop line should be based off of his minutes that he's going to get, about 5 more minutes would be 21 points or so. Based off of the opponent, about 21.5, so slightly over. So if the Vegas prop line was based off his per minute production and not his average minutes, it would be set at 24.5. And then his overall projection is 23. So not a big edge there, but this is one of the better bets that we're getting on the day. And so once again, that's the issue that we're having on the slate. Now he has been playing better ball. And so maybe you find a way to do points and rebounds, maybe fantasy score. Fantasy score would probably be the one I would go with. This seems like a low number. If the game stays close, it should be because DeAndre Aiden is playing well. And he is someone, like I said, averages over 20 points with Devin Booker off the court and about 12 rebounds. Doesn't take much more for him to get there. Okay, this would be a decent number as well. But these all kind of correlate together. Yeah, they all correlate pretty well together. And so all the favorable under bets that we're getting, like sportsbook wise, guys, they are all going to be bets in which the players are projected to get over their number. So not really worth mentioning. And so I would say that most of the lines that we're getting are correct today, but let's try to find some fantasy lines, because those are typically ones in which we see the biggest discrepancies. So right now, as it sits, and this is really up to you guys, if the game stays close, Chris Paul would probably be the reason. So it is a little bit risky here, but CP3, he averages 32 minutes. I haven't projected to get 34, so a little bit more minutes. His PrizePick line is currently set at 38.5 fantasy points. On average, he scores 35 PrizePicks points. He's projected to get 35. Okay, so in theory, there's a slight edge here. Okay, fantasy score, that's one of the better ones that we're getting. Now, Ben Simmons is very tricky. Okay, right now, I have him projected to get 27 minutes. On average, he gets 26.1 minutes. Okay, and so if he doesn't get an increase in minutes, then it's tough to imagine him being that productive. Now, remember that stretch where he was getting consistent minutes and he was going off. When he was getting, 30 plus minutes per game, he was going off. And so it's kind of weird that we're not seeing that Ben Simmons right now. It's much more Cam Thomas soaking up a lot of the usage. It's Nick Claxton going off. And now you have a very similar type player in your roster with Finney Smith. It's a defensive minded player. He's going to take some minutes. You have Royce O'Neal still playing a lot of minutes. Now, the only thing that could thrust Simmons into more minutes is maybe if Sharp is out. He's not someone that gets a lot of run, but if he's out, that's, about 10 more minutes available that I would say he'd be forced into, unless Nick Claxton just gets 38 minutes, 39 minutes. I don't know if I see that happening. And now we have Dinwiddie making his debut as well. He's going to soak up some of that usage as well. So it does make sense why this projection is probably a little bit too high for tonight's slate. And now if we look the other way for fantasy points where they're favored to get over their current projected points, we'd be looking at Torrey Craig. And I think this is mostly just due to it. Look at this, guys. Who are they going to play? Sarge? Sure, they might, but they're very limited on who can play minutes tonight. So Torrey Craig is someone on the season, averages 21 points or 21 minutes. He's projected to get 33 tonight. Okay, so we can see in those games in which he is getting around 30 minutes or over 30 minutes, he is being productive in those minutes. Okay, so on the season, and this is obviously DK points, on the season, he actually averaged 24, or he actually averaged just 19.8 PrizePicks points per game. And so he's already kind of projected at his average. So if we give him an increase in minutes, like we're most likely going to see, he should be able to get over this. And so this is one of the stronger bets on paper that we're getting. As long as the game stays close, he should be someone that we're looking at. He's currently projected to get 24.5 PrizePicks points based off of his minutes. So probably the best bet that we're getting today for the over and really just on the board. And then like there has been rumors that like Collins could get traded. I don't know why they would do this. I don't think he's going to, but I guess I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks made a trade. So a little bit worried about this one, but we have Collins projected to get over his fantasy points. I don't love this one. You know, the reason I like the Torrey Craig one is because of the minutes. You know, it's projected to get more minutes by a lot. And then another one in which it kind of feels like we're forcing it, but at the same time, you know, could easily get there, would still be Nick Claxton over the fantasy points. I believe I've given this as a prop the last 2 slates he's been on. Okay, on the season averages 25 points or 25 minutes per game. He averages 35 PrizePick points with those minutes. So he's projected to get 35 minutes in this game, a lot of run. Okay, so because of that, he is someone that's projected to get 40 fantasy points this game. Okay, so not a big edge, but you know, if that game stays close, we can see that working out. Okay, so I want to point out this projection as well because it is the best odds bet that we're getting today. It'd be Tony Perkins over 10.5 points. Okay, we can see he's been over that the last 3 games. We look at DraftKings Sportsbook, they currently have the set at minus 145. So that is a great number that we're getting. Okay, you know, we didn't get a single minus 140 number tonight on the NBA slate thus far. We are getting that on college basketball and in hockey. So those are going to be the best that we're favoring more so today. And like we can see why lately he's been over that number, been getting more minutes, 35, 31, 34. Okay, let's look at some other games where he's had more run, you know, 30 minutes, 22. Okay, so to me, I'm reading this as the minutes have to be there. So one game was a little bit of a blowout, probably why he didn't get the minutes. And then I guess MSU, I don't really know. I don't follow college basketball that much, but we can see in games in which he has gotten the minutes, he's getting over this number. So that is really what we're betting on is the minutes being there. And so if they are, he should be able to get over this. So this number is strange, I will say, just given the discrepancies in the sports books, but you know, we are getting still a good number on it. It still should be at least minus 138 or so, which is still above kind of the minus 137 number that you typically want to aim for to gain an edge on PrizePicks. So I would still be comfortable betting this, and this would be the under here. Okay, and then this one is about minus 140 to get the over. Not pretty on paper, and so that could be a reason why people don't want to make this bet, and I get it. Okay, like I can perfectly see why you wouldn't want to do this one then. And then this one as well, less than shots on goal. You know, last time it was like minus 150 to get over or to get the under, and it was close, 3 shots on goal, and he's currently projected to get 3 shots on goal is what the numbers on the sportsbooks are telling us. And I think we're getting that because he's been over his average by so much lately that they're expecting the regression to come consistently now. And so this is at minus 140-ish on today. So also a pretty good bet for the less than. And so guys, here's what it would look like. And if I had to just pick 2, I think it would be these first 2, Torrey Craig over fantasy points. Once again, should be in for more minutes. And then Tony Perkins, just the best number bet that we're getting on this slate. But I am comfortable putting in these hockey bets as well, just because they are favorable odds that we're getting. So you know, those would be the bets for today.